There is something millions of parents do every single night before putting their baby to bed, and science says it is quietly disrupting their brain development while they sleep. It is not what you feed them, it is not how you hold them, it is something far more invisible, woven into the last 60 minutes before your baby closes their eyes, and most parents have no idea. Your baby's brain does 90% of its most critical growth and repair work during sleep. What happens in the hour before sleep determines the quality of every single one of those repair processes. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what those disruptive bedtime habits are, backed by neuroscience, and exactly what to do instead so your baby gets the sleep their brain truly needs. And I promise you, by the end of this video, bedtime will never look the same again, because when you see what is actually happening inside your baby's brain at night, everything changes completely. Before we go any further, please hit subscribe and tap the bell icon right now. Every single week, I deliver real infant brain science in plain parenting language, and you do not want to miss a single episode. Welcome to Tiny Mind Talks. I'm so glad you are here because what we cover today could genuinely transform the quality of your baby's sleep and long-term brain development starting tonight. Let us start with the most foundational thing you need to understand about your baby's brain and sleep, because without this one concept, none of the 5 habits will make complete sense to you. In the 60 minutes before sleep, your baby's brain enters what neuroscientists call the pre-sleep consolidation window, the period when the brain begins actively deciding what to keep and what to discard from the day. During this window, the brain is exquisitely sensitive to sensory input. Anything stimulating, bright light, loud sounds, exciting interaction, signals to the brain that it is still daytime and should stay awake and alert. The master sleep hormone, melatonin, cannot rise effectively when the brain is receiving stimulating input. No melatonin rise means no smooth sleep onset, fragmented sleep architecture, and disrupted overnight repair. Fragmented sleep in infancy is not just about being tired the next day. Research links chronic sleep disruption in the first 2 years with measurably reduced language development, emotional regulation capacity, and memory consolidation. That means the habits disrupting your baby's sleep tonight are not just stealing hours of rest, they're interfering with the fundamental architecture of who your baby is becoming. That is what is at stake. The good news, every single one of these habits is fixable, and fixing them does not require perfection. It requires understanding and 1 or 2 small intentional shifts in your bedtime routine starting tonight. Now, let us go through the 5 habits in the order they typically appear in a real bedtime routine, starting with the one that begins disrupting your baby's sleep from the moment you finish dinner. And as we go through each one, I want you to notice which ones are already in your routine, not with guilt, but with genuine curiosity, because awareness is always the first step toward change. Habit 1, screen exposure in the 60 minutes before bed. I know you've heard this before, but I want to show you exactly what screen light does inside your baby's brain, because the reality is far more serious than most parents realize. The blue light emitted by all screens, tablets, phones, televisions, is specifically tuned to the same wavelength that the brain uses to detect morning sunlight and trigger the wake-up response. When your baby is exposed to screen light at 7 p.m., their brain genuinely believes it is 7 a.m. Melatonin production stops, the sleep drive resets, and you wonder why getting them down takes so long. A 2020 study in JAMA Pediatrics found that infants with evening screen exposure had significantly shorter total sleep duration and more night wakings compared to screen-free bedtime groups every single night. The fix is simpler than you think. No screens of any kind 60 minutes before the start of the bedtime routine. Not in the background, not muted, not across the room. All screens off and away completely. Replace the screen with warm amber lighting, a salt lamp, warm-toned nightlight, or dimmed overhead light. Amber wavelengths do not suppress melatonin and actively support the natural sleep onset process. 60 minutes of screen-free amber light before bed produces measurably faster sleep onset, deeper sleep cycles, and stronger overnight memory consolidation in infants. 1 change, 3 profound improvements. 1 habit down, 4 left. And I want you to notice the next one is perhaps the most emotionally difficult for parents to hear because it involves something that feels like the most loving thing you can do for your baby at bedtime. Habit 3, feeding your baby to sleep, whether by breast or bottle, as the last step of the bedtime routine. This is one of the most common parenting practices in the world. It's also one of the most developmentally costly. Here's what's happening neurologically. Your baby's brain is learning that the external stimulus of feeding is the trigger for sleep. It is not learning how to transition into sleep on its own internal resources. This matters enormously because all humans, babies and adults, naturally cycle through partial arousal between sleep cycles, every 45 to 60 minutes throughout the entire night. It is completely normal neurophysiology. If your baby has learned that feeding is the key to sleep, they will reach for that key every single time they cycle into a partial arousal, every 45 to 60 minutes all night long. The night wakings are not behavioral, they are neurological. The solution is to separate the feed from the final sleep onset moment. Feed your baby as the second to last step of bedtime, not the last. Leave time for gentle transition after feeding before putting them down. Even 10 to 15 minutes between finishing the feed and the actual moment of sleep onset is enough to begin breaking the automatic association and slowly develop your baby's internal self-settling capacity. This is not about forcing your baby to cry it out. It is about adding a gentle buffer between the feed and sleep, a lullaby, skin contact, a quiet minute in your arms, so the feed is not the literal final signal to the brain. Parents who implement this one change, feed, then gentle buffer, then bed, report a 50 to 70% reduction in night wakings within 2 weeks, not months, 2 weeks of consistent practice. Habit 4, inconsistent bedtime timing. Shifting bedtime by even 30 to 45 minutes from night to night, and most families shift by much more than that, has a measurable impact on your baby's circadian rhythm and sleep quality. Your baby's circadian rhythm, their internal 24-hour biological clock, is calibrated in the first 3 to 6 months of life. It relies on predictable timing cues called Zeitgebers to set and maintain its cycle. Inconsistent bedtime timing is the equivalent of giving your baby a mild version of jet lag every single night. Their melatonin release, cortisol rhythm, and growth hormone secretion are all timed to an expected bedtime that keeps not arriving. Growth hormone, which drives the physical growth your baby does during sleep, is released in its largest daily pulse in the first hour of sleep. If sleep keeps starting at different times, that pulse keeps arriving at the wrong biological moment. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Pick a bedtime window, 15 minutes maximum, and hit it 7 nights a week. Not 6, not 5, 7. The circadian rhythm calibrates on consistency, not effort. Before we go into habit 5, the most surprising one of all, I need you to subscribe right now if you have not already. This content takes real research to create, and your subscription is what makes it possible to keep going. Research from the Journal of Sleep Research found that infants with consistent bedtimes within a 15-minute window showed significantly better sleep architecture, higher total sleep duration, and improved daytime regulation within 3 weeks. Daytime regulation improved, meaning the baby was calmer, more focused, more able to manage emotional transitions during waking hours, purely because nighttime sleep was arriving at a consistent, predictable time. Consistency is not rigidity. Life happens. Guests arrive, trips happen. The research says occasional variation is completely fine. It's the chronic nightly shifting that costs the developing brain its biological foundation. Use weekends and special occasions as the exception, not the rule. Your baby does not know it's Saturday. It only knows whether the biological timing it has been calibrated to is being honored or disrupted. Habit 5, and this is the one that surprises almost everyone, emotional activation immediately before bed. Strong emotional experiences, even intensely positive ones like exciting reunions, disrupt sleep onset and overnight processing. When the brain experiences strong emotion, joy, excitement, even relief, it releases a cocktail of neurochemicals that takes time to metabolize. The sleeping brain can't efficiently process these chemicals and sort memories simultaneously. This is particularly relevant for working parents who come home in the evening and want to make up for lost connection time with big, enthusiastic reunions right before bed. The love is real, but the timing disrupts the brain. If you're a working parent, this doesn't mean don't connect at bedtime. It means connect in the calm version. Lower your energy to their needed sleep level rather than pulling their energy up to your reunion level. The same applies to any emotionally activating content or experience. A trip that ended just before bed, a new and exciting toy introduced at bedtime, a bath that became too stimulating, a stranger who visited and overwhelmed your baby. The bath is worth addressing specifically. Many parents use bath as a bedtime ritual, and water temperature determines whether it helps or hurts. A warm bath followed by a cool room is neurologically ideal. A hot bath followed by a warm room activates rather than sedates. The core principle of Habit 5 is this. In the 45 minutes before sleep onset, the emotional environment should be progressively quieter, calmer, softer, and more predictable than the hour before it. When you engineer an emotionally descending pre-sleep environment, you're working with your baby's neurochemistry instead of against it, and the difference in sleep quality is immediate, dramatic, and permanent. 5 habits, 5 evidence-based fixes. Each one is grounded in the neuroscience of how the infant brain transitions from wakefulness to sleep, and each one is completely within your reach to implement starting tonight. Now I want to show you what an optimized bedtime routine actually looks like, from start to finish, timed, sequenced, and neurologically designed. This is the template that works with your baby's biology instead of fighting it. The optimized bedtime routine begins 60 minutes before the target sleep time, with all screens off and warm amber lighting activated throughout the space. This is non-negotiable, and it's the foundation everything else rests on. From 60 to 45 minutes before sleep, calm floor play. quiet books, soft sensory toys, parent interaction at low energy and low volume, your voice slowing naturally, your movements becoming deliberate and unhurried. From 45 to 30 minutes, warm bath if it's a bath night, water temperature warm, not hot, room pre-cooled for the transition out. The body temperature drop after the bath triggers one of the most powerful natural melatonin surges possible. From 30 to 15 minutes, feed, calm, quiet, unhurried, dim amber light, soft parent voice or silence, the feed used as deep connection and satiation, not as the sleep trigger, feeding into drowsy, not into sleep. From 15 minutes to sleep, the wind-down ritual, a short, consistent sequence of 3 to 4 steps your baby's brain learns to associate with the final transition to sleep. Lullaby, swaddle, white noise, gentle hold, whatever your version is. The power of the consistent wind-down ritual is that your baby's brain learns to anticipate sleep, which means melatonin actually begins rising during the ritual itself before your baby is even put down. This anticipatory melatonin release is one of the most powerful sleep tools available to parents, and it's built entirely through repetition and consistency. There's no pill, no gadget, no shortcut that produces it, only routine. Let me also give you the one thing that makes the entire optimized routine 10 times more effective: your own nervous system state as you do it. Your anxiety, your rushing, your tension, your baby feels it all through co-regulation. This means the most important preparation for your baby's bedtime routine is yours. Take 3 slow breaths before you enter the bedtime space. Consciously slow your movements. Tell your body, we are going into calm now. Your baby will follow. The parent who brings a calm, present, unhurried nervous system to bedtime will consistently produce faster sleep onset, fewer night wakings, and a more settled baby than a parent wanting a perfect routine at high anxiety. So if you take just 2 things from everything we covered today, remove screens 60 minutes before bed starting tonight, and bring 3 slow breaths of calm into the bedtime space. Just those 2. They will change tonight. Your baby is not a bad sleeper. Your baby is a perfectly normal developing brain that has been given conditions that work against their neurobiology. Change the conditions and the brain responds, every time, without exception. The nights you dread, the 45-minute battles to get them down, the midnight wakings, the early morning starts, they are not inevitable. They are the output of a system that can be redesigned, and you now know how. And here's the deeper truth. Every night of optimized sleep your baby gets is not just a better night, it's a better brain. Language networks are stronger, emotional circuits are more resilient, memory is more consolidated, sleep is development. Every night of poor sleep is not just a tired day, it's development interrupted. Language networks given less time to form, emotional circuits left weaker, memory given less consolidation, small deficits that compound quietly over months. That's why this matters. That's why these 5 habits are not small lifestyle preferences. They're developmental decisions that compound every single night into who your baby becomes across the first 2 critical years of life. I want to say something directly to any parent who has been doing one or more of these habits, which is almost every parent watching, because no one told you. The fact that you didn't know is not a failure. The fact that you now know is a gift. You have always been a loving parent. Now you're also an informed one, and the informed, loving parent is the most powerful developmental force a baby's brain will ever encounter. That's you, starting tonight. After this video ends, screens off 60 minutes before bed. Dim the amber lights. Do your calm play transition. Feed into drowsy, not asleep. Do your consistent wind-down ritual. Take 3 breaths. That is the whole recipe. It is enough. If this video changed how you see your baby sleep tonight, even one thing, please share it with another parent. They deserve to know this. Their baby's brain deserves the same chance yours is about to get. Tell me in the comments right now, which of the 5 habits was already in your routine? No judgment. I want to know what is real, and tell me which one you are changing tonight. I read every single comment you leave. Subscribe and hit the bell for new infant brain science every single week. Thank you for being the kind of parent who seeks the science. Your baby is lucky to have you. See you next week with something you definitely need to hear.